Hey Internet, we are back with another episode of What If They Were in the GetherVerse. I'm Gunter, and last time we were checking out a character for converting to the GetherVerse. We did Boba Fett from the Disney Plus series that's out, and we're going to stick in the same kingdom, as it were, the same magic kingdom. We're going to go over to the animated side, and we're going to do Luisa from Encanto as our next character. So this is, I'm obsessed with this movie. Yes, that's a bias that I have, but I really like the animated take on superheroes in a fantasy setting that is not like a modern dystopia or a modern metropolis, but that it's set in a magical kind of a scenario instead of a futuristic one, and that's the thing that I like about the GetherVerse RPG system, along with like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, over something more sci-fi and things like that. So I do like every episode of this series. Have to give a spoiler warning. We're never going to try and do spoilers, but the fact remains that I have seen this movie a whole bunch, and it's quite possible that if you haven't seen it, that I would ruin some aspect by you watching this first. So go watch it if you haven't watched it. You've probably watched it if you're interested in knowing what Luisa would look like in the GetherVerse. But either way, we give you the spoiler warning just in case. So we gave Luisa the background of weightlifter, which means her three starting abilities, starting stats, are going to be in athletics, endurance, and reduced encumbrance. So those three things are going to be what she gets set up with before she even gets to start as modifiers. So now in the show, Luisa is going through this journey of self-discovery, if you want to call it that, or self-confidence and those kinds of journeys that we're all going through. But throughout the movie, she's the strong one. She's the one that has super strength as her powers. And so most of the skills and things that we choose are going to be reflecting the kind of typecasting that had to happen with this kind of everyone has a different power setup. You really have people that are kind of pigeonholed into one set of aspects. So if you look at, just in comparison, Boba Fett has these massive character development arcs throughout, and part of that is aided by flashbacks and having some lore in previous in the universe. But Luisa mainly has a singular conflict that she's trying to work through, and that's it. Otherwise, they're each kind of playing their part in the movie. Because the scenes that had Luisa in them were the only ones that we measured, versus the Boba Fett, which was a TV series, we took each episode. Boba Fett had unassigned points because there were episodes he wasn't in, and but since we're only measuring the scenes that Luisa is in, she doesn't have any points that went unassigned. So by the most used skills in the movie, we decided that there were 4.86 modifiers worth of athletics. So this was more than double any other ability that she used. There again, that's kind of much less spread out than the Boba Fett character. Had a lot more diverse kinds of actions her actions were almost exclusively athletics. So 4.66 athletics means 14 points of experience in that category. Next, the next largest category that she had was 2, and that was for being self-aware. There were moments where she discovered things about herself or went through emotions where she learned things about herself, and that was 6 points or 2 modifier. Next up, we had steady, and that was a 5 points, but steady here being balance, physically steady, like not easily toppling kind of a steady, more than a emotional steady, which would just be called something else. She did get 3 points and enough to get a singular modifier in stealth, reduced encumbrance, which remember will stack with the one that she started with, loyal, helpful, community building, and animal handling. So that's probably the closest we're going to get to a spoiler, is that animal handling is some of my favorite parts of the movie. So those were all things that did end up getting a modifier. Now, as far as actions that she took, experience that she got where it was not enough to put her over a full modifier, she's got improvised ranged, which again, that's pretty entertaining parts. Intimidation, endurance, acrobatics. Now, for endurance, she will have that modifier from her background. And then if she got another point in that, would go up to 2 modifier. Acrobatics, supportive. Now here, this supportive is the emotional steady. So this is supportive emotionally, not supportive like the holding up a building kind of supportive. And then working again, singular 1 point at a time of perception, deception, and courageous. So kind of an interesting mix of traits there. I think Luisa is right at 7th level. Yep. So gained 6 levels, starting at level 1 would put her at level 7 there. So really, until we hear more from you guys, our plan is just to keep doing my favorite characters, or my players' favorite characters, or my other GM's favorite characters. So we have had one singular request for Nightcrawler, so we might do that from the X-Men. And then Spider-Man still being pretty present. I'm always on the fence if I want to wait a little bit just to make sure that I don't do anything for spoilers for folks. But obviously I still also want it to be when it's important to you guys. So let us know in the comments what you think we should do for the next upcoming What If They Were in the GetherVerse episodes. So you guys have survived another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you want to support the channel, you can do that. Like and subscribe. You can do that with dollars on Patreon. Or you can join in the actual GetherVerse stories on our Discord. So there's lots of options there. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Internet.